Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Christian here. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today, it is the day before the Sephora VIB sale. That is my favorite time of year when I get like blackout makeup drunk and I buy a bazillion things that I do not need, that I will probably never use, but because they tack a discount onto it, I can't stop myself from purchasing some of these items. So today I've decided to, instead of doing a wish list, which if you guys want a wish list, I can still do a wish list. It's not very long, but I can definitely film one of those. So today I decided that I'm going to talk about some of my tips and tricks on how to survive the Sephora VIB sale without going absolutely broke. So I kind of sat down and I was like, these are the tips and tricks that I'm going to follow. These are the things that I'm going to do this year to ensure that I purchase the things that I want, that I'm excited about, and nothing else. Because 20% off, which is exciting because normally the spring sales are only 15. So the fact that VIB Rouge is getting 20% is like, yay, so exciting. But I tend to forget that 20% off, while it can be a lot of money, especially if you're buying high-end items like Natasha Deona or Pat McGrath. If you're buying a $25 concealer, maybe not so much. Now, don't get me wrong, every penny adds up, but this sale does not need to be an excuse to buy everything under the sun. I know I am such a hypocrite right now. I know. But this is just a fun way if you're kind of figuring out like how do you decide what you're going to buy, when you're going to buy it, if you actually want it, if it's actually worth buying. Should I get it? Should I leave it on the shelf? These are some tips that I have come up with. Of course, these are all my own opinions. I'm in no way telling you how to spend your money, what you should spend your money on. If you want to go ham crazy during the Sephora VIB sale like I have every year for the past 6 years, then please feel free. But if you're kind of like, man, I want to start being a little bit more conservative with my makeup shopping, I want to kind of get a little bit more excited and make sure that I actually use the products that I'm buying, maybe, no guarantee, but maybe these could be some good tips and tricks that we can use to kind of survive and have our bank account not absolutely deflate within the next week of the sale. So if you're interested in, some tips and maybe some tricks and maybe some good solutions to not spend all of your money in one place, I don't know, it might work, it might not, then definitely go ahead and keep on watching. If you want to see my VIB haul, which I will say I have a Sephora haul video coming of things that I have purchased over the last like month and a half, 2 months. This is in no way, shape, or form all of the things that I picked up during the VIB sale, because there is exactly, I think, 6 things on my list for the VIB sale, and I'm only going to buy those 6. Probably. More than likely. Absolutely. Definitely only going to buy those 6. So yeah, you guys, let's go ahead and get started. So all of these tips and tricks kind of go hand in hand and they kind of work together. So the first one is to make a list. Sit down. It doesn't matter if the list is 40 items long. Make a list. Everything that has excited you, everything that you have wanted to purchase, everything that you need to repurchase, make that list. That way you're more likely to stick to the things on the list. If you go in there blind, then you're going to definitely buy things that you do not need. But it's like going to the grocery store. Like if you write down your list, if you write a list, then you're going to get everything that you need and you're not going to forget anything. Because if you don't make your list and you forget something, then you're more than likely to make a second trip to the store or a second trip online to pick up that one item that you absolutely needed. And along with that one item, 5 other things are going to come home with you. So if you just make the list and you put everything that you need on that list up front, then you won't forget anything and you won't be more inclined to purchase more items than what you needed or more items than what you already decided to buy to start with. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is then, and it's excessive, you guys, and I promise you I do this, like especially during the VIB or around holiday time, I will write all of the collections down and then I will rank them in order of the things that I want most. I will make my list however many items long, and then I will kind of categorize them into needs, like things that I absolutely have to purchase. So for example, if I'm out of my favorite brow product, if I'm out of my favorite concealer, my favorite foundation, that would go into the need category. Those are things that I'm absolutely 100% going to buy because I know that I'm going to use them and I know that they are staples. And then the second category would be have to haves. So when I say have to haves, it's those items that you've had your eye on for months and maybe they're just a little too expensive. They're those items that you have been super excited about, but you've just been waiting for a discount and you know that your collection can benefit from them, and you know that you're going to use them. So a have to have could be anything. It could be, you know, a $130 Natasha Deona product, or it can be a $30 blush that you've just been kind of, you know, biding your time and waiting to get. They're the products that you know your collection will benefit from, that you will use up in their entirety, and that they're things that just get you genuinely excited. So then that would be the second part of the list. And the third part of the list would be nice to haves. So that's kind of like products like you would like to have them, but they don't rank as highly as the other products. So it's kind of like, well, you know, if I do get that product, I would be excited about it, but not really. I could go either way. The nice to haves are always the first things to go on my list. Like let's say I have my list 1 through 10, and then there's 11 through 20. 11 through 20 are typically the first things to go when I'm really surveying the list, because it's a nice to have, but I don't necessarily need it. I don't necessarily think that I will get it, like full enjoyment out of it. Or it might be a face palette, right? A face palette where I can only use 3 of those shades out of the 6 that actually come in it. While it's beautiful and the packaging is nice and it would be a nice collector's item, I don't need it and my collection would not benefit from it. So the nice to haves go first. That would be tip number 2. Tip number 3, which again kind of goes hand in hand with 1 and 2. So you make your list, you break down that list, but then number 3 is you would already survey your collection. You would look through the collection, you would look through the items that you already have. I don't know how many times, and this is more for somebody who has a larger collection. If you don't have a very big collection, then you probably can skip this step. But for somebody like me who probably owns like 40 foundations and 25 concealers, you know, I kind of have to do this a little bit more. Survey your collection, go through, look. So once you've made your list, go through, okay, let's say that there's 5 eyeshadow palettes on that list, right? Like, and you just have to have them. Look through your collection and kind of decide, okay, this eyeshadow palette I could benefit from. This eyeshadow palette, I have something that's almost exactly like it. Or, you know, your foundations, right? Like, let's say that you want to repurchase your favorite foundation, but if you have a larger collection, you realize, oh man, I already bought a backup a couple months ago. Take the time and look through. I know that when it comes to skincare, especially because I think 20% off, I tend to purchase things just out of habit. Like, okay, let me get my favorite cleansers, let me get my favorite toners, let me get my favorite whatever the case may be. And then I go through my bathroom after I've purchased and start putting things away. And in the back shelf, I already had a backup. So I bought a backup to my backup. But if I had just used the backup that I already had, that would have lasted me until the next sale. You know what I mean? So just pay attention to what you already have in your collection. And if you have a larger collection, chances are you might be able to skip a couple of the items that were on your list. So, and another thing with that is, like, take for example, I just purchased the James Charles palette, right? So the James Charles palette has so many different shades in there, so many different possibilities, that I could have knocked out the Anastasia Riviera palette. But had I surveyed my collection and thought about that, maybe I wouldn't have purchased one or the other. So now that I have both palettes, granted they're very different formulations, they're different brands and different things like that, I probably could have skipped on one of them. You know what I mean? So that's where, again, the list comes into play. Now, tip number, I think we're on 4. Are we on number 4? Tip number 4, this is a huge one. This one, if you follow any tip on this list, I feel like this is the one to follow. If you can help it, do not go into the store to purchase your items. Make your list, get the things that you're excited about, go to your loves list, add to cart, check out, and be done. If you go into store, I promise you, unless you just have like the best resolve ever and you're not like a makeup junkie the way so many of us are, if you go into the store with your list or whatever the case may be, saying, I'm getting these 5 items and that's it. The second you walk into that store and you start talking to, you know, the sales representatives or the people who are there trying to get you to buy more stuff, you're going to hone in on something that wasn't even on your radar, and you're going to end up spending more money than you planned on doing. Or you're going to have that internal battle of which thing do I want more if you're on a little bit more of a budget. I've been there to where I'm like, I have my list, I go into the store, I add everything to my cart, and then I get sidetracked by something else, and then I'm like, but now I have to put something back. But then because I have no actual willpower, I end up putting nothing back, and then I end up buying everything. So order online if you can. The next, are we on 5? Tip number 5. The next one is, and this one is going to be a little bit silly and it's going to be a little bit hard, and I know that this one is going to be harder to follow, but I'm throwing it in here anyway because I have fallen victim to this every year, both sales. Avoid watching haul videos until after the sale is over. And I know you're thinking like, but you make YouTube videos, why would you not want me to watch your video? The reason why I'm saying this is because when you're watching 30 haul videos back to back because you're so excited, and I love haul videos, you guys. I can watch haul videos for like 2 hours straight and not get bored. I love them. But what ends up happening every single year, this happens to me, every single sale, I watch a haul video, and if enough people mention a specific product, I get major FOMO. And then I go buy that product, a product that I wasn't even thinking about, a product that didn't even matter, a product that I wasn't concerned about. But because, you know, bigger influencers or even smaller influencers, so many people are talking about this product, I buy something that I didn't even want. And it happens every year. So if you can help it, avoid watching haul videos. I'm not even joking. Like it's if you want to like have your addiction, makeup addiction enabled, sit down and watch haul videos for 2 hours straight on the day the Sephora sale launches, and you will buy things you don't need. Another major one, and I already kind of touched on this, but another one, what are we on, 6? I think. I've lost count. I don't know. Another one that I already touched base on, and why all of these kind of go hand in hand, is if you make your list, how many times, take a shot every time I've said list in this video. If you've made your list, if you've surveyed your collection, if you just make one trip to the store or one trip online, one trip, you will get everything you need in that one trip and you won't have to go back. The more trips you make to the store, the more things you're gonna buy, and that's just period. And I'm the type of person, I love going to Sephora, and sometimes I'll go to Sephora just to see what's out there, just to kind of say, okay, let me go touch, play, let me kind of visually look at some things that have kind of been on my radar to whether or not I can decide if I want to purchase them. Like, I can go into Sephora without buying things. It's rare, but I can do it. I cannot go to Sephora or Ulta during a sale and not buy something. So make one trip. I know it's hard, and I know it's kind of like you kind of get excited and you're like, man, well, maybe let me get that one last thing. You know, maybe I can buy one more thing. I have one more day left on the sale. Let me just run into the store and get that one thing. Don't do it. Don't do it. If there's one day left on the sale and you haven't already purchased it, you probably don't need it. So just, and again, you guys, these are all things that I have done, and that's how I know I always, every year during the sale, I end up spending more money than I planned on. I ended up buying things that I know that I didn't need. There are things from November sale, you guys, that are still in the box that I have not tried. Like, I'm not even kidding, because I just get so excited and I overbuy and I overspend because I think that it's a sale. And that brings us to number 7. Just because it's on sale doesn't mean you need to buy it. So unless, again, it's something that you're really excited about, you're really eager about. I mean, in past sales, I have purchased 3 concealers, I have purchased 4, 5, 6 foundations, I have purchased more skincare than one person can use in a year just because it's on sale. And especially, of course, there are some items that last a little bit longer, and you know, a lot of items, they're good until you open them, but especially when it comes to skincare, there are properties in skincare, whether they're open or not, that will break down over time. So if you're buying backups to your backups, or things that you want to try, but you don't know if you want to try it, but you want to buy it, but you want to use the 8 other cleansers that you're already using before you use that one, then I would say maybe skip out or hold off on it. Because there are more sales. I know that Sephora only has sales twice a year, but Ulta does sales all the time. The major brands do their own sales a couple times a year, so you will not miss out. There will be another opportunity for you to purchase that particular product at some other point in time. So that's just kind of how I'm going to approach this sale, just very casually, very, you know, let me buy the things that I'm the most excited about. Let me buy the things that I definitely want to try. Let me buy the things that over the last, you know, couple, like last month or so, that I've kind of gotten back into makeup and I've been on the Sephora website looking at. Let me buy those things, you know, the things that I would have bought in last month, but I knew the sale was coming, so I decided to hold off. Let me get those few things. So that's kind of how I'm going to approach the sale this year. I have a very short list, and I'm going to stay pretty true to that list because I've been really trying to use up what I already have and really testing out and finding old favorites, because just because new stuff comes out doesn't mean that we can't still love the things that we already have in our collection. So, and again, some of these things might not work for you. Some of these things, if you have a smaller collection, you probably aren't going to be as concerned with. But if you have a massive collection, if you are a makeup hoarder, this could be a way to kind of help you rein it in a little bit and really focus in on the things that you actually need. That's the motto that I'm going to live by this year. So you guys are going to be so proud of me when I show you my Sephora VIB Sale haul. And I might not even show you a haul because there's not going to be a lot of stuff in it. So I know some of y'all are probably making wagers down in the comment section like, she says this every year and then she ends up having 18 hauls of Sephora VIB Sale stuff and she ends up spending like $3 million. Don't judge me. Don't set me up for failure. I'm feeling really good about where I'm at with makeup. I'm feeling really good about where I'm at with, you know, my spending and budgeting and all that stuff. So I'm in a really, really good place. The last 6 months have kind of taught me a lot and shown me not to be, you know, as wasteful. And of course I make YouTube videos and I do buy in excess because I want to try, play, and test. But that doesn't mean I have to buy it all in one day just because it's on sale. Yeah, you guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I really hope that you found it helpful. This is in no way meant to offend anybody. This is in no way meant to say you were shopping wrong, you were doing things that you shouldn't be doing. Everybody has their own budgets. Everybody has their own level of makeup excitement and how much they're willing to spend and what they're not wanting to spend. So whether you buy one thing during the VIB sale or 50 things during the VIB sale, I'm cool either way. If you're good, I'm good. So this is just a way, like if you kind of struggle with overspending, or you know, you kind of struggle with how do I determine what to buy and things like that, these are kind of some of the things that I typically do. Especially, I don't typically do this, I'll be honest, I don't typically do this during the VIB sales. I typically do this during holiday time because, you know, especially with reviews and things like that, there's so much stuff I want to talk about, but I cannot purchase it all. So these are some of the ways that I kind of will tell myself, okay, this is what you should buy, this is what you shouldn't buy, this is X, Y, and Z. You feel me? So I really hope that you did find this video helpful. If you didn't, it's all good. Hopefully you'll enjoy the next one. If you did though, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below. And yeah, you guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.